The year is 2007. San Francisco buzzes with anticipation. Journalists and tech enthusiasts swarm outside the Moscone Center. Inside, a man in a black turtleneck and jeans takes the stage, holding a device destined to reshape the world. Today, Apple reinvents the phone, he declares, and the audience bursts into applause. That man is Steve Jobs, a visionary, a marketing genius, and a driving force in technology. Jobs didn't just create products, he reimagined the future. Yet the journey to this pinnacle of success was neither easy nor straightforward. Today, we'll delve into the story of a boy given up for adoption who went on to become one of the most influential figures in tech history. We'll explore how Jobs built Apple, lost it, and ultimately returned to save it from collapse. We'll uncover the complexities of his character, a man whose brilliance both inspired and alienated those around him. Ready to peel back the layers of the man behind the groundbreaking presentations and revolutionary innovations? Let's begin. This isn't just the story of a man who changed the world. It's a journey that challenges us to reflect on the price of success and the limits of genius. By the end, you might find yourself asking, was Steve Jobs' path the only way to achieve greatness, or does his story serve as a cautionary tale for future innovators? Steve Jobs' story begins on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco. His biological mother, Joanne Shibboleth, was a young, unmarried graduate student, and his father, Abdul Fattah Jandali, a Syrian graduate student. Unprepared for parenthood and facing resistance from Shibboleth's family, they placed their baby for adoption at the San Francisco Children's Home Society. Joanne hoped her son would be adopted by a well-educated couple. Initially, a lawyer and his wife were set to adopt Steve. However, they changed their minds at the last moment, preferring a girl. This twist of fate led Steve to Paul and Clara Jobs, a working-class couple from Mountain View, California. Joanne was initially hesitant to sign the adoption papers when she learned that Paul and Clara lacked college degrees. She only relented after they promised in writing to fund Steve's college education, a promise that would profoundly shape his future. Steve grew up in what would later be known as Silicon Valley, surrounded by engineers and technicians working on the cutting edge of electronics. His father, a mechanic and carpenter, introduced him to the world of technology and design. This environment, combined with his parents' unwavering commitment to his education, laid the foundation for Steve's groundbreaking innovations. Steve's relationship with his adoptive parents was loving, yet multifaceted. Paul and Clara provided him with a stable and nurturing home, but the fact of his adoption remained central to his identity. From a young age, Steve knew he was adopted. His parents' honesty spared him the shock of a later revelation, but it also instilled in him a sense of being different, an outsider in his own family. His parents' assurance that he was chosen gave him a sense of being special, yet it also raised questions about why his biological parents had given him up. This duality of feeling both chosen and rejected fueled an inner conflict that shaped his relentless pursuit of perfection and recognition, while also contributing to his sometimes abrasive demeanor. Despite the love of his adoptive parents, Steve often felt out of place. His intellectual curiosity and creative drive set him apart, amplifying his sense of alienation. This internal struggle fueled his determination to carve out his own identity and make his mark on the world. In school, Steve was an exceptionally bright but challenging student. Bored by routine, he often acted out and was expelled from several schools. "I was a real pain in the ass," Jobs later admitted. A pivotal moment came in 4th grade when his teacher, Mrs. Hill, recognized his potential and motivated him with $5 rewards for solving math problems. The unconventional tactic worked, sparking Steve's enthusiasm for learning. By his teenage years, Steve had developed a keen interest in electronics and computers. He attended after-school lectures at Hewlett-Packard, where he met his future Apple co-founder, Steve Wozniak. Bonded by their mutual passion for technology and pranks, the two would go on to change the world together. In 1971, when Steve Jobs was just 16 and Steve Wozniak was 21, they collaborated on their first venture, creating Blue Boxes. These compact devices, roughly the size of a deck of cards, generated specific tones to manipulate the telephone system and enable free long-distance calls. Based on schematics published in Esquire magazine, Jobs and Wozniak sold these illegal devices to students for approximately $150 each. In total, they sold around 100 units, marking their first entrepreneurial partnership. After graduating high school in 1972, Jobs enrolled at Reed College in Portland, Oregon. However, he dropped out after only one semester, realizing the $58,000 annual tuition was too great a burden for his adoptive parents. Despite leaving formal education, Jobs continued attending classes that intrigued him, such as a calligraphy course, which would later inspire the inclusion of multiple fonts in the first Macintosh. During this time, Jobs explored unorthodox methods of self-discovery. He experimented with LSD, which he later described as one of the most transformative experiences of his life. Searching for deeper meaning and clarity, he studied Zen Buddhism and traveled to India seeking spiritual enlightenment. These experiences profoundly influenced his perspective on life and later shaped his unique approach to design and innovation. Jobs believed these explorations helped him view the world differently, fueling his creativity and bold ideas. Returning to California, Jobs took a technician job at Atari, where he was tasked with simplifying the circuitry of the popular game Breakout. Enlisting Wozniak's help, Jobs didn't disclose that Atari offered a $100 bonus for each chip eliminated, a total of $5,000. Instead, Jobs told Wozniak their earnings were only $700 and gave him half. Wozniak, working tirelessly, devised a design using only 45 chips, far exceeding Atari's expectations. This episode highlighted Jobs' complex personality, resourceful yet manipulative, a trait that would later define his leadership style. In 1976, Steve Jobs' life took a pivotal turn. Together with Steve Wozniak, he co-founded Apple Computer in the garage of Jobs' family home. Their first product, the Apple I, was essentially a motherboard that buyers had to encase and connect to a monitor and keyboard themselves. The idea for the company arose after Wozniak showcased his invention at the Homebrew Computer Club. Jobs immediately recognized its commercial potential. As a natural entrepreneur, Jobs arranged a meeting with Paul Terrell, owner of the Byte Shop, a local electronics retailer. Terrell saw promise in the product but preferred a fully assembled computer. Still, he placed an order for 50 Apple I boards at $500 each, payable upon delivery. This first significant order was a breakthrough for Apple. To fund production, Jobs mortgaged his Volkswagen Microbus, while Wozniak sold his cherished HP 65 calculator. Working tirelessly in the Jobs family garage, they assembled the order in 30 days. Buoyed by the success of the Apple I, Jobs and Wozniak developed the Apple II, a sleek personal computer in a plastic casing with color graphics. This innovation revolutionized the industry by introducing features like a built-in keyboard and the ability to connect to a standard TV. Moreover, the release of VisiCalc, the first spreadsheet software, transformed the Apple II into a must-have for businesses, driving explosive sales. Apple quickly outpaced competitors like Commodore and Tandy, becoming a dominant force in the market. Apple's rapid growth drew significant investor interest. By 1980, the company's revenue had soared to $117 million, setting the stage for an initial public offering, IPO. On December 12, 1980, Apple went public, offering 4.6 million shares at $22 each. Shares sold out within minutes and closed at $29 by the end of the day, valuing the company at $1.778 billion. At just 25 years old, Steve Jobs, owning 7.5 million shares, became a multimillionaire overnight, with a net worth exceeding $217 million. However, success came with challenges. Jobs earned a reputation for his volatile temper and exacting management style. By 1983, Apple employed nearly 1,000 people, and Jobs led the company with relentless intensity. He was known for firing employees on the spot if their responses failed to meet his high expectations. His obsession with perfection often drove last-minute design changes, such as altering a product's color or casing curves. That same year, Jobs convinced John Sculley, then CEO of PepsiCo, to join Apple, famously asking, "Do you want to sell sugared water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world?" While Sculley initially brought valuable corporate experience, their partnership would later unravel, leading to Jobs' ousting from Apple. In 1984, Apple unveiled the Macintosh, a computer that redefined personal computing with its graphical user interface and mouse. This product cemented Apple's reputation as an industry innovator and set a new standard for user-friendly technology. The 1984 commercial, aired during the Super Bowl, remains a hallmark of advertising history. Directed by Ridley Scott, the 60-second ad depicted a dystopian Orwellian society where the Macintosh symbolized freedom from conformity, represented by IBM. The climactic moment featured a defiant athlete smashing a screen portraying Big Brother with a hammer, signaling the end of the old order and the rise of a new era in computing. Despite the groundbreaking innovation of the Macintosh and the success of its marketing, the computer's high price and limited capabilities resulted in underwhelming sales. As Macintosh revenues declined and Apple's financial troubles deepened, tensions between Steve Jobs and John Sculley escalated. Jobs advocated for aggressive price cuts and increased marketing budgets to drive sales, while Sculley prioritized cost reductions and focused on the more profitable Apple II line. The conflict reached a breaking point in May 1985. Learning of Sculley's plans to reorganize the company, Jobs attempted a coup to remove him as CEO. However, Sculley discovered the plot and called an emergency board meeting, where the directors sided with him. On May 17, 1985, Jobs was stripped of his managerial authority, relegated to the ceremonial position of chairman of the board. For months, Jobs remained at Apple in a state of limbo, holding no real influence. Finally, on September 13, 1985, Jobs resigned, selling all his shares except one, which he kept to retain access to shareholder meetings. Reflecting on this time during his 2005 Stanford commencement speech, Jobs described his feelings. "I had been fired from the company I started. It was devastating. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone. I felt I had let down the previous generation of entrepreneurs." However, Jobs was far from defeated. Shortly after leaving Apple, Jobs founded Next Computer, aiming to build advanced workstations for education and business. While Next's computers were technologically ahead of their time, featuring the Next Step operating system, their high price, starting at $6,500 and retailing up to $999, hampered commercial success. Despite this, Next became a catalyst for innovation. Notably, Tim Berners-Lee used a Next computer to develop the World Wide Web, revolutionizing global communication and information exchange. Alongside Next, Jobs ventured into the animation industry by acquiring Lucasfilm's computer graphics division in 1986 for $10 million, renaming it Pixar. Initially focused on producing high-performance computers for 3D animation, Pixar pivoted to filmmaking after facing challenges with cost and demand. The studio's breakthrough came in 1995 with the release of Toy Story, the first full-length computer-animated film. Produced on a modest $30 million budget, the film grossed $373.5 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing movie of the year. Pixar's subsequent IPO in November 1995 skyrocketed its stock value, turning Jobs into a billionaire and cementing Pixar as a powerhouse in animation. Meanwhile, Apple was struggling. Facing declining revenues and market share, the company sought a new operating system and turned to Next. In 1997, Apple acquired Next for $429 million, paving the way for Jobs' return as interim CEO. John Sculley had left Apple in 1993 and later expressed regret, acknowledging Jobs' critical role in the company's success. Jobs' return marked a dramatic turnaround for Apple. He streamlined operations, canceled unprofitable projects, and refocused the company on innovation. One of his first successes was the release of the iMac in 1998, a stylish and user-friendly computer that sold over 6 million units and revitalized Apple's financial health. Around this time, Jobs also secured a pivotal $150 million investment from Microsoft, a controversial move that stabilized Apple's finances but drew criticism from some loyal Apple fans. Over the next decade, Jobs spearheaded a digital revolution, launching transformative products like the iPod in 2001 and the iTunes Store in 2003. The iPod became the best-selling music player, with over 400 million units sold by 2014, while the iTunes Store reshaped the music industry by offering millions of tracks for easy digital purchase. In 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone, a device Jobs described as a magical product that would forever change how people communicate, work, and interact with technology. The release of the iPhone marked not only a turning point for Apple, but also for the entire tech industry, cementing Jobs' legacy as a visionary who continually redefined the future. The iPhone debuted as a groundbreaking device that combined a mobile phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator. Its innovative touch interface and app ecosystem not only transformed the smartphone industry, but also reshaped how people interacted with technology. The first iPhone featured a 3.5-inch touchscreen, a 2-megapixel camera, and storage options of 4 or 8 GB. It ran on iOS, included the Safari browser for web access, and integrated seamlessly with iTunes for syncing content. While the iPhone was revolutionary, many of its innovations were not entirely original. Multi-touch technology, for example, had been developed by Fingerworks, a company Apple acquired in 2005. Similarly, icon-based interfaces existed in PDAs like those running Palm OS, and combining a phone with a music player had been attempted by earlier devices, such as Sony Ericsson models. Nevertheless, the iPhone presentation became legendary. Steve Jobs captivated the audience by showcasing features like scrolling through a contact list with a single swipe. "Did you get that? I just used my finger," he exclaimed, underscoring the interface's simplicity and innovation. The iPhone's success was extraordinary, with 270,000 units sold during its first weekend. By 2010, the iPhone accounted for nearly 40% of Apple's revenue, making it the most valuable tech company in the world. In 2010, Jobs introduced the iPad, describing it as a device that bridged the gap between smartphones and laptops. Though initially met with skepticism, many dismissed it as a big iPhone. The iPad quickly gained popularity, establishing a new product category. The concept of a tablet computer was not new. Companies like Microsoft had experimented with it for years. However, Apple succeeded where others had faltered, creating a product that resonated with consumers due to its intuitive interface and robust ecosystem. Jobs and Apple often faced accusations of borrowing ideas and technologies. For instance, the Macintosh's graphical interface was inspired by developments at Xerox PARC. Yet Jobs' genius lay in identifying the potential of existing technologies and transforming them into accessible, market-defining products. Though many of Apple's ideas weren't entirely original, Jobs' leadership enabled the company to refine and integrate them into revolutionary products that disrupted entire industries. His ability to execute and innovate set Apple apart and left an indelible mark on technology and culture. Steve Jobs' personal life was as complex and multifaceted as his career. In the 1970s, he had a tumultuous relationship with Chris Ann Brennan, whom he met in high school. Their on-again, off-again romance culminated in 1978 with the birth of their daughter, Lisa. For years, Jobs denied paternity, even in the face of a positive paternity test. Consumed by his work at Apple and unprepared for fatherhood, Jobs distanced himself from Brennan and Lisa. The Lisa computer was named after his daughter, though Jobs publicly claimed the name stood for Local Integrated Software Architecture. The relationship between Jobs and Brennan ended shortly after Lisa's birth, leaving Brennan to raise their daughter alone, often relying on social assistance. Despite his financial success, Jobs provided minimal support for years. Later, as his relationship with Laurene Powell deepened, Jobs began to reconnect with Lisa, eventually acknowledging his paternity and playing a more active role in her life. Lisa even lived with the Jobs family during her teenage years. In 1989, Jobs met Laurene Powell during a lecture at Stanford's Graduate School of Business. Their relationship quickly blossomed, and they married in 1991 in a Buddhist ceremony in Yosemite National Park. The couple had 3 children, a son, Reed, and 2 daughters, Erin and Eve. Despite his high-profile career, Jobs maintained a strong boundary between his public and private lives. He rarely spoke about his family in interviews and shielded his children from media attention, perhaps hoping to provide them with a more normal upbringing. In 2003, Jobs was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer, a neuroendocrine tumor. Although doctors recommended immediate surgery, Jobs delayed the procedure for 9 months, opting instead for alternative treatments. His decision was influenced by his belief in natural remedies, his vegetarian lifestyle, and his aversion to invasive medical interventions. Known for his reality distortion field, Jobs often convinced himself and others of improbable outcomes, which likely shaped his response to his illness. Jobs experimented with a range of alternative therapies, including a strict vegan diet, emphasizing juices and superfoods, acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, hydrotherapy, and consultations with psychics and healers. Meditation and psychological therapy also played significant roles in his treatment approach. Unfortunately, these delays in pursuing conventional medical treatment may have cost Jobs his life, highlighting the limitations of his otherwise visionary approach to problem-solving. By the time Steve Jobs consented to surgery, the cancer had already spread, reducing his chances of survival significantly. Medical experts later observed that immediate surgical intervention could have greatly improved his prognosis. Despite his worsening health, Jobs remained steadfast in his role at Apple, continuing to appear in public even as his physical condition visibly declined. His dedication to his work endured even in the shadow of death. In 2009, Jobs underwent a liver transplant in Memphis, Tennessee, a decision that sparked controversy. Critics alleged that his wealth and influence enabled him to secure an organ faster than an average patient. Despite the challenges of recovery, Jobs pressed on, overseeing the development of new products like the iPad, which launched in 2010 and solidified Apple's dominance in the tech industry. On August 24, 2011, Steve Jobs stepped down as Apple's CEO, passing the mantle to Tim Cook, In his resignation letter, he wrote, "I have always said if there ever came a day when I could no longer meet my duties and expectations as Apple's CEO, I would be the first to let you know. Unfortunately, that day has come." On October 5, 2011, Jobs passed away at the age of 56. His enigmatic final words, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow," remain a mystery, leaving the world to speculate on his final thoughts. Steve Jobs was a man of profound contradictions. His unparalleled ability to foresee technological trends and create products that fulfilled unarticulated needs stemmed from several key qualities. First, Jobs had an intuitive grasp of human psychology and a deep understanding of simplicity and elegance in design, qualities people often desired but hadn't realized themselves. Second, his diverse interests, ranging from calligraphy to Zen Buddhism, gave him a unique perspective, allowing him to connect ideas from disparate fields. Finally, his extensive experience in technology positioned him as a visionary who could discern and shape the future. However, these same traits often made Jobs difficult to work with. His relentless pursuit of perfection, coupled with a firm belief in his own vision, led to moments of cruelty, manipulation, and selfishness. Jobs was notorious for dismissing others' ideas, insisting his way was the only way forward, even at the expense of relationships or organizational harmony. Former employees often recalled Jobs' temper and harsh criticism. He was unafraid to publicly deride someone's work, calling it worthless in front of peers. His demands for perfection bordered on tyranny. In one instance, he forced a team to redesign the iMac's case overnight, simply because he disliked its shade of blue. His approach to charity also drew scrutiny. Unlike contemporaries such as Bill Gates, Jobs was not known for philanthropy. One of his first acts upon returning to Apple in 1997 was shutting down the company's charitable programs, arguing that profitability was the best way Apple could contribute to society. Jobs' influence on the tech world is immeasurable. He didn't merely create products, he shaped culture. The iPhone redefined how we communicate, work, and entertain ourselves, while under Jobs' leadership, Apple became synonymous with lifestyle and status. People eagerly queued for hours to purchase new Apple products, turning the release of devices like the iPhone and iPad into cultural phenomena. Jobs revolutionized multiple industries. The Apple II and Macintosh democratized personal computing. Pixar forever changed the animation industry with the first fully computer-animated film, Toy Story. The iPod and iTunes Store transformed music distribution, while the iPhone set a new standard for smartphones, and the iPad pioneered a new category of devices. Jobs was also a marketing maestro, capable of generating immense excitement with a single statement, as he did with the iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. Steve Jobs' life offers profound lessons for entrepreneurs and innovators. His career underscores the importance of focus, as reflected in his philosophy of saying no to countless opportunities to concentrate on what truly matters. This principle drove the simplification of Apple's product line after his return. Jobs also emphasized creating exceptional user experiences, advocating for technology that is not only functional, but intuitive and beautiful. Jobs championed an interdisciplinary approach, believing true innovation arises at the intersection of technology and the humanities. This belief guided his work at Apple and Pixar, where he consistently merged technical brilliance with creative artistry. His legacy serves as a testament to the transformative power of vision, determination, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Steve Jobs taught us the importance of passion in work. He often emphasized that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. This philosophy enabled him to overcome countless obstacles and failures on his journey to success. Jobs was not just a pioneer in technology, he was a cultural icon whose influence transcended industries. His life was a tapestry of highs and lows, triumphs and setbacks, each moment contributing to the legend we know today. Jobs was far from perfect. His character was frequently described as complex and contradictory. He could be ruthless in his decisions, selfish in his actions, and harsh in his words. Yet these same traits, combined with his relentless passion for innovation and perfection, allowed him to create products that revolutionized the world. From the first Apple computer built in a garage to the iPhone that redefined how we interact with information, Jobs sought to ensure technology was more than functional. It was beautiful, intuitive, and almost magical. His vision was not limited to the products themselves. It extended to the way they made people feel. Jobs' approach to business was as groundbreaking as his creations. He believed that to achieve greatness, it wasn't enough to simply do your job well. You needed to be obsessed with it. He demanded the best from himself and those around him. While his methods were often grueling, the results spoke for themselves. Perhaps Jobs' greatest legacy is not a single product or invention, but a transformation in how we perceive and interact with technology. He demonstrated that technology could be more than a tool. It could be an extension of our identity, a medium for self-expression, and a platform for creativity. In his famous 2005 Stanford commencement address, Jobs said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." These words encapsulate his philosophy. Jobs lived by his own rules, pursued his vision with unyielding focus, and, in doing so, changed the world. The story of Steve Jobs is not just a tale of success. It's a testament to the power of believing in your ideas, even when the world doubts you. It's a story about innovation and how an unwavering commitment to perfection can create products that touch millions of lives. Now, we'd like to hear from you. What do you think was the most crucial factor in Steve Jobs' success? Was it his vision, his pursuit of perfection, or his ability to inspire others? How much do you think his childhood shaped the man he became? Was it nature, nurture, or perhaps a combination of both? Additionally, do you believe Jobs' controversial management methods were justified by the results he achieved, or do you think the same outcomes could have been reached with a less intense approach? Finally, which of Jobs' innovations or products had the greatest impact on your life? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your comments help us create content that resonates with you, so don't hesitate to share your thoughts below. We'll see you in the next episode.